What is up, everybody? This is LevidtheRetroGamer here, and today I'm going to be showing you my PlayStation collection. Now, this is a tagged response video from Nintendo, who showed off his PlayStation collection, which had a lot of RPGs in it. A lot of RPGs. Now, my collection kind of lacks in that department, except for like maybe 3 or 4. I don't remember how many exactly. But a lot of mine has to do with like fighting games, shoot-em-ups, and just any other genre you can think of. I possibly have it. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the single jewel cases, going alphabetical order and in numericals first. So we're going to go with 007, Tomorrow Never Dies. This is one of my favorite 007 games. It's a great action-adventure shooter. I thought the controls were pretty good, and the gameplay and story are pretty awesome as well. I heard some people really didn't like it because it wasn't a first-person shooter like GoldenEye, and it's not multiplayer whatsoever. But I thought it was pretty solid for a 007 game, and I would highly recommend checking it out. And next we have another 007 game. This one isn't as good. It's 007, The World Is Not Enough. The controls are pretty bad because most first-person shooter games at the time really weren't good to begin with. But the story's great, and it's just another 007 game, just to have in my collection. I like 007, so we'll go next with a childhood favorite, Too Extreme. It's kind of like Road Rash, but with skateboarding, rollerblading, snowboarding, and whatnot. I think it has biking in it too, and I don't remember exactly what other sports were in it. There's quite a few. It's a pretty good game, and I would highly recommend checking it out. Next, it's another favorite. Williams Arcade's Greatest Hits. It's got Sinistar and freaking Robotron 2084. Both great games. And if you've never checked out Sinistar, I would highly recommend doing that. Next is Beast Wars Transformers. It's an game. Could be a little better, but for the time I thought it was pretty good. I was a big fan of Beast Wars. It's worth checking out. It's not that expensive. We've got Cool Borders 2, one of the first snowboarding games I ever played, so it's a reason to have that. The first Crash Bandicoot, which is one I've never beaten. I do love the Crash series, though. Great games. We got the first one there, and then we got Crash 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Beat this one. Great game. For the third one, though, Crash Warped. Crash Warped is a great game. This is one of my all-time favorite PlayStation 1 games. Then we go into Crash Team Racing. Now, I wish there were more of these. I know there was Crash Nitro Kart, which wasn't really as good, but Crash Team Racing is amazing, and I would suggest checking it out if you haven't. Crash Bash is like, it's like the Mario Party it basically is like the Mario Party for the Crash series. Even though it didn't really have any board games, it did have a bunch of mini games in it that were a lot of fun. Another game that's not really talked about much is Disruptor. It's basically like a Doom clone, and it's pretty difficult. If you haven't played many Doom clones, then this is pretty hard. And I don't really play Doom clones. I'd prefer to actually play the original Doom or Duke Nukem 3D. But yeah, Disruptor is a fun game. If you haven't played it, I would suggest checking it out if you like Doom clones. We have Duke Nukem 3D or Duke Nukem Total Meltdown, whichever you prefer to call it. But yeah, great game. Everyone knows what this is. I really don't have to talk about it much. Another favorite, Ehrgeiz. I don't remember exactly how you pronounce it. But yeah, great fighting game. It's got a neat little RPG in the beginning of it. I've talked about this game many times on my channel, so I'm just going to shut up about it. Galaga Remake, and I've talked about this before as well. Now, if you haven't seen that video, I'll explain a little more on it. Galaga is one of my favorite shooters of all time, and when PlayStation 1 did a lot of those 3D reboots with all the classic games, such as Centipede and, what's the other ones? Missile Command, I think, as well as they did. It was pretty bad. But this one is just great. I mean, they do many different styles of shooters with this. They do the original overhead, and then it'll switch over to a side-scroller, and then it'll switch over to a Mode 7 3D type spiel, but it's just great. They have many different varieties of gameplay with this, And I would recommend this, and it's very cheap. It's probably about $8. I would get this if you have not played it yet, and you're a fan of Galaga. We have Hot Shots Golf. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I like Hot Shots Golf. Leave me alone. Jet Moto, another great racing game. Generic, but it's a need from a collection. You gotta have it. Mobile Light Force, which is actually Gunbird 1. If you like shmups, I would recommend getting this. Mortal Kombat 4. Great Mortal Kombat game. I hear many people dislike the 3D effects in this and the way it actually looked, but I liked it. I thought it was very different for its time, and it's definitely worth having in your collection if you love Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Don't have to say much about that. Everyone knows what this is. Great game. Need for Speed High Stakes. I really liked the fact of... I like the cop chasing in this. There was a couple other things I liked in it. I haven't played it in a long time, so it's really hard for me to explain exactly what's in it. But it's a racing game. You get that. Everyone knows what Need for Speed is, so we'll just say that. There's a couple different features in it that the other PlayStation games didn't have, and that's why I really like this. And I'm dropping games. We have Omega Boost. This one I didn't learn about until maybe a year ago, where my friend Steven told me about it. And said it had a great soundtrack in it, which it does. It's got Static X in it and a couple other great bands. If you like shooter games, there you go. Omega Boost. Pretty cheap. I would get it. Quake 2. Great game. I don't know why I have this. I don't. I honestly don't know why I have it. Because it's like a Tony Hawk clone, but with Razor scooters. I liked Razor scooters as a kid. But this game is far from fun. I guess I just have it for the sake of having it, I guess. But yeah, Razor Freestyle Scooter. Rugrats Search for Reptar. Now, had I not grown up with Rugrats, I probably never would have checked this out. But the gameplay is actually really fun. If you like just a bunch of fun mini games and earning Reptar pieces to build the puzzle back up that Tommy lost, yeah, play this. It's a lot of fun. Spider-Man for the PS1. Actually Spider-Man for the PS1, Taylor. Fucking Panico. Fun game. I didn't get into the actual full game until much later. I had the demo as a kid, and I would play that demo insanely, crazily. Like I would play it every day after school. Just, yeah, it's a decent game. We have Star Wars Dark Forces. This game, though, I knew there was a first one, but I was originally started on the second one on PC. Now, I would tell anybody to go right now and get Star Wars Dark Forces 2 on PC, because that is just an amazing first-person shooter. This is okay. It's more like a Doom clone. They did a little more with the second one. But yeah, I would go for the second one immediately on PC and give that a try, just because of how awesome it actually is. But yeah, Star Wars Dark Forces is okay. I'd get it if you want. It's cheap. One of the worst fighting games in the world. I don't know why I have it either. Star Wars Masters of the Terrascasi. The only good character in this is Chewbacca. Everybody else sucks. There you go. Now we get into one of my favorite series of all time, but it's one of the worst versions of the series. Street Fighter EX. Now, they took out Ryu's spin kick in this, which is a big disappointment. The graphics were atrocious, and it wasn't really that fun, but I have to have it because it's a Street Fighter game, and I love Street Fighter very much. But it's going up in price for some reason. I don't get why. It wasn't even really that rare. Now, this one, they worked out a lot of the kinks with. I love Street Fighter EX2. I love the third one the best, but for its time, this one is definitely really good, and I would check it out if you haven't already, because Street Fighter is just an amazing series. Next, we have my favorite racing game of all time on the PS1, Test Drive 5. Now, this game, if it wasn't for me playing this, I probably would not have found out about the music that I actually listen to. I am really, really big on industrial and a lot of different types of metal. This introduced me to Fear Factory, Pitch Shifter, and a couple of other different bands. They're actually right here, but I can't focus in on them or I'll have to refocus everything again. But yeah, this is actually a really great, glitchy racer. And it deserves to be played. It's really cheap, and it's just so much fun. You can just enter in a code and just unlock everything and just play the shit out of every track, every car in existence in this game. It's just awesome. I would suggest doing that. Next, we have one of the more uncommon games, and it's Tomba. Now, I wouldn't have bought this if it wasn't for the fact that Deanna likes this game. Now, I don't really go for expensive games if I didn't grow up on them or if I don't like them. But because she likes it, I figured I'd pick it up. And I gave it a shot, and it's pretty good. Tomba's an amazing game. But, yeah, there's that one. And then there's Tomba 2 that I still have yet to play, but I would love to. I don't have the time to, though. Tomba. WrestleMania, the arcade game. I originally had this on Super Nintendo. I think it's a lot better on here, but I have more nostalgia for the Super Nintendo version, just because of the control style, and it just feels a lot better that way. But WrestleMania, the arcade game, is one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. We have X-Men Mutant Academy, which is a great fighting game. I've explained that it kind of went on to create sequels into the PS2, and it had a much better fighting style, much better fighting game then. But X-Men Mutant Academy is a lot of fun if you like X-Men and fighting games. And then we also have the second one right here. The second one's not as good. I like the first one better, and I like the third one way more, which is The Next Dimension. Just great series. But now we're going to go into the, not long box, I don't own any long box games, but I do have the Fat 2-disc games and whatnot. So we'll go with Chrono Cross, great RPG. We've got my favorite RPG of all time, Final Fantasy VII, and yes, this is my favorite RPG of all time.
Fucking noob.
Shut up, Joel. No one cares what you think. But Final Fantasy VII is a great game. And I'm just kidding, dude. Everyone cares what you think. You have great videos. We have Final Fantasy VIII, which is pretty good. Love the Final Fantasy series. Gran Turismo 2. Fun racing game. It's a racing simulator. This is one of the best in the Gran Turismo series, excluding 4. I think I like 4 the best. Or maybe it was 3. I don't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, Gran Turismo 2. We have Parasite Eve 2. I don't have the first one. It keeps evading me. I will not spend more than $10 on Parasite Eve. But yeah, this is actually a really great survival horror / RPG-ish elements, whatnot. Yeah, great game. And the very last game in my PlayStation 1 collection is Resident Evil 2. Now, the reason I have this one and not any of the others, excluding 4, I do have that. I don't have the first or third one because I don't really have much nostalgia for them. And I really never cared for the Resident Evil series, except for this one. This one scared the shit out of me as a kid. I would watch my friend play it constantly every time I go over his house, and it scared the shit out of me. The music in it is creepy as hell sounding. The graphics obviously are not. That's not what really gets me. It's the environment and the music and a lot of other stuff in this game. It's just a great game, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot. But yeah, I would suggest this one if you haven't checked out Resident Evil, but you probably already have. But yeah, let's go back to me over there. And now it's time for the tags. Now, I'm not sure if some of you have done this type of video already, but if you haven't, cool, go ahead and make one. If you have, then just leave me a link in the comments and I'll check it out later. So, yeah, first, we're going to go with Man of Justice 21. I know you said you had a couple of PlayStation games, not that many, but I'd still like to know what you have anyway, so go ahead and make one. The Retro Social Work Game Hunter. Now, you have a massive collection. I'd love to know what's in your PlayStation collection, especially since you have so many damn games. And let's go with the Game Grinder. Now, I know you've been really busy lately, and you haven't put out many videos, but if you have the time, please go ahead and make a video about this. I'd love to know what's in your PlayStation collection as well. But if you already have, go ahead and leave a link in the comments and I'll check it out later. And I hope to see some more videos coming from you soon, when you have the time. That'd be great. I love your channel. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to check out some of my other videos as well. And be sure to check out some of the channels I mentioned. I'm going to leave links in the description down below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you at a later date.